Okay, we have this set up exactly the same as it was before, just to document what I've done, in case you guys want to know exactly what's used. This is a wire acting as an aerial. If that's removed, we lose it. Bring it back. This is a 10 UF electrolytic. That's that there. If I disconnect the wire at the top, that's where the signal's coming in. It stops. If I connect it at the bottom, nothing. It only works when we have it connected to the top. Okay. I don't know what frequency that is exactly, so what I'll do is I'll just get my multimeter set up and see what that says. Right, I have my multimeter set up to the pin of the valve socket where the wire goes in, and I have the other set to the chassis, and that's what I'm getting. 43.69 Hertz. Now, why this is working, I have absolutely no idea. How did I work out how to do this? Just trial and error and just prodding around and seeing what works. That's how I found it out. Okay, so we're going to tear this apart now. So the only connections is this earth wire on top, and I'll just get the camera down, maybe you can see that. There's 2 solder points to the tuner. So we need to release those first, and then we'll go underneath and unsolder those wires. Just documenting this connection at the top that I didn't spot before. There's looks like a signal wire and a braid, which is probably a screen. That goes to the top and is signal to the bottom. Hello there, we've managed to get inside the box, and this is what it looks like. Various coils and things. OC171 transistor there, Mullard. Can't quite see what else I can. It's an OC171 also. Yeah, I'm just having a bit of trouble getting one bit unsoldered. That shouldn't take long. But I just want to mention something else while I'm at it. I wanted to use my solder extracting machine, and let's put it this way. I bought this some time ago because of the problem I had with my Hakko. I won't go into details on that at the moment. So I bought this. This is my solder extractor replacement for the Hakko, which I had a lot of trouble with. And in using this, I'm not having much luck with this one either, because just trying to get it in shot. The camera, just get it in shot there. There we are. I put this on and heated it up, and that bit on the front there, where the element is, was glowing orange, and it's melted everything, and it's all loose. In fact, if you look at it down the end, you can see it. I don't know if you can see that, it's all bent over. I thought, well, this is great. This is another piece of crap I bought. Now, before you guys start screaming down at me and saying, oh, you just said that Hakko's crap, I'm not saying Hakko's crap. I'm just saying I didn't have any luck with the one that I bought. Mainly probably because of the dealer that I was dealing with at the time. I'll go into that another time. But this isn't very good either, is it? I mean, look at that. Now that's it there. That's a Blackjack Solder Works BK4000. I'll take it that's going to be going in the skip next, because these, when the elements go in these things, you have to buy the whole gun. And the last time I bought this, I mean, this is the first time I've used it actually, and it cost 35 quid. 35 quid for a pile of crap, you know. Not happy really. So it looks like I'm going to be on the market for another solder extractor. All I managed to extract with that was one joint, and that's it. Useless. So there we go. So let's get back to this. So what we're going to do now is I want to test these transistors to see where we are with them. Now, fingers crossed that they are not working, because if they're not working, that's what's wrong. However, if they are working, then we need to find out what else is wrong in here. So we'll have to check all these parts. There's some resistors at the back there, and whatever. There's not a lot in here really. It looks complicated, but now you can see that valve socket there being used. There's a silver marker cap in there. There's a few resistors. There's one, two. Looks like two silver caps there and various coils. So what we're trying to do, I'm just heating up my smaller soldering iron because I need to unsolder that. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not. There's a capacitor there which is hanging on the end of a wire, and it's soldered to the tuner. So just want to unsolder that. Probably going to have terrible trouble getting it all back again, but in for a penny, in for a pound. Okay, we've finally got the tuner separated from this box, and this is a better view of what's inside the box. I tried my best to get this capacitor off without cutting the wires, because the leads are very short, in case I haven't got a capacitor like this one. So I had to get it undone. So in the end, rather than risk heating it up any more than necessary, because I was heating up quite a lot, I decided the best plan of campaign would be to cut the wire. And if you can see inside the end of this pointer here, there's a little stub of wire I've left myself so that I can reattach it. So what I'll do is I'll make up a coil or wire, and I'll put that over and be able to solder it back again. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to check all these resistors in here now that we've gone through all this effort getting in here, and I want to test those transistors. And there's also a capacitor there down at the bottom, that black one. I want to have a look at that. Check everything, because it's going to be a nightmare if we have to get back in here again. Okay, so that's where we are so far. See, there's a few resistors there that we can check, and that's the side, I think, or was it the bottom? Oh, that's the side that went up against the tuner, and this is what went up against the bottom. I've had to snip the wires off so I didn't heat everything up. See, there's that coil there. This is this coil here. I think you've had a good look at that. So what we need to do is test everything in this box and check everything, and then when I've done that, I'll let you know what I find. No, my luck, the transistors are working perfectly, and we went through all this for nothing, but you've got to check everything, haven't you? Alright, so let's do that now. Right, okay, we've managed to unsolder 3 of the leads. As you can see that there. I've got it hanging by one lead. Luckily, it was tagged on and the wires was not wrapped around, which is very handy. And I'm hoping the transistor on the other side will be the same. So we'll test the transistor, and then we will start looking at these resistors in here. So that's the next bit. Okie dokie. We have our leads all hooked up. Bearing in mind, going back over to the diagram, we have emitter, base, shield is the middle one, and collector. Well, if that's the case, where are we? The collector is tied to the case, which is what I've got here. So the middle one, I'll just check to make sure I've got this right. Double check everything. Yes, we have 3 pins together. Oh, hang on a minute, I've got this wrong. I just checked the way I've got these wires hooked in. Right, I've tested the transistor, and I had the leads on wrong. I had one of the leads on the interlead shield, which made it look like a diode. I thought, aha, we found the problem. But when I checked the leads again, I had them on the wrong pin, so now we've got it right now. So we've got red lead collector, green lead is base. Yeah, there's a lead there, and emitter is blue, and the shield is tied to the case, which it would be because it's like a screen. So according to this, unless there's any really bad leakages or anything, the transistors working according to this meter. So that's not our problem. So now we'll have to go and test the other one. But I'm not soldering this first one back until I've checked all the resistors in here. So we'll do that next. Alright, we tested the other transistor, and that appears to be working as well. No, I was convinced that there must have been a problem with these transistors. Well, I'm convinced now they're working, so we'll have to keep on probing around until we find what we're looking for. Alright, so that's that bit done. So I'm going to poke around and check these resistors now, and then we'll go from there. And also check these coils while we're in here. See if we can check for continuity. Maybe there's some problems with those. Alright, so let's do that next, since we're in this box already. Right, I've been poking around in here, and do you see this resistor here? That one there, can you see that there? That's supposed to read 180 ohms. So right, I just put my multimeter across that, you'll see the meter. It's supposed to be 180 ohms, and we've got 209 ohms. Now when you look at the schematic, when you look at the schematic, I've written in the resistor we're interested in, which is this fella here. And as you can see, I can't see there's anything going to affect its value. So what we'll do is, just to make sure, we'll clip it at one end and have a look to see what the value reads with one end clipped out. And then if it still reads the same as it did, it's coming out. If it reads correct, we'll leave it in. We'll just make up a little coil of wire and solder it back in again. Alright, because sometimes you can't test these parts in circuit because you don't know, because if you look, there are other components that might be interfering with the reading. So let's have a look at that. Okay, we've now clipped that resistor out of the circuit. So all we got is one end cut off. So now we measure it, and we've got 203.70 odd ohms, or 203 ohms, and that's supposed to be a 180. So that's no good, so that's going to have to come out. So we're going to use the coil method to get this in here, because there's not a lot of room. I've left a stub one end, and the other end, the stub will be very short, but I'm sure I'll find a way of hooking that in. So what we've got to do is find another resistor, and that's going to be fun, because I've got a bag full. I'm going to go through all of them to find if you've got anything like that. So let's do that next. Right, to make this coil to get on the end of the wire so we can solder this resistor in, I've managed to find a sewing needle, and I've just put that there to show you. So I'm going to wrap this wire around and make a coil, just like what John does. Alright, that's the only way I'm going to be able to get this back on here okay. Okay, so let's do that. I can't show you that because I need two hands, and I don't really want to film again with my hand always in front of the camera. It didn't look very good. So let's get that done. There's our new resistor in. I just put it in like this to check to make sure that it fits okay. So I'm going to get my file out. I'm going to clean these terminals, and then I'm going to clean them with some rubbing alcohol, and then I'll probably just tack on one end and carry on searching for dodgy components. Alright, and by the way, I just broke them in needle, hit it with my hand and snapped it off in the vise. These things happen, don't they? Okay, so let's get the next bit done. I'll put my flux on and clean my soldering iron. There we go. Do you see that 470 ohm resistor in there? Well, it ain't reading 470 ohm. So what I'll do is I'll put a meter across it and I'll show you guys what it's actually reading. It's going to get replaced. Right. Okay, we're just going to test this. I've already tested it, but I want to show you guys what it reads. Okay, as I say, I lifted one end. See what that says. Can you see that? Oh, it's jumping around again. It's reading. It's not a very good way of connecting. It's dirty leads. 53. That's what it's reading there. Yellow, mauve, brown. And if we get an actual resistor, new ones, and there we are, we're a lot closer. So as we're in here, I'm going to change it. It's probably in tolerance, but as I'm in here anyway, you know, and it's a real awkward thing to get back into this box again. If it's anything slightly out of value, I'm going to change it, so I don't have to come in here again. So we'll get that done. I'll let you know when we've done that. Right, after a lot of persuading and pushing and what's the name in, there's the resistor in. Do you see that? I've bent the wires, done the coil system, which works out really well for this, and fluxed it. All I've got to do is solder it in. So that's that bit done. Very fiddly. This is why I don't have a solder station. I have 3 separate irons, and when I need a fine iron, I go and get that, and I can get it into small fine spaces. I found this works very well for me. Right, let's get that done. Right, I've found another one I don't like the look of. It's this fella here. It's supposed to be 12k. Now, what I would normally do, just to make sure that nothing else is connected across it that's going to cause any problems, I would lift one lead just to make sure that it is still out of tolerance or not happy with it. It's this fella here, R4 12k. Now it's got a capacitor across it, C9. So I don't know if that's having any effect of the value of it or not. But because it's in such an awkward place and I can't do very much with it the way it is, I'm going to snip out one end and replace it anyway, because I don't want to get back in here again. I want to make sure everything in here is working first. Everything is okay before I go for the procedure of putting it all back together again. So we're getting there. Okay, so that's where we are now. That's going to be very awkward. So what I might do is clip one end, leave it in there, maybe, I don't know, we'll see how we go. And then put in the new part. Okay, so let's do that, and then I'm going to have to go and get my dinner. Because I haven't had any dinner yet. When you do this sort of thing, you just seem to get absorbed into it, and time just evaporates away. And the next thing you know, you realise that you've been doing it for hours. You know, I'm a bit of a pessimist. I'm saying to myself, I bet after all this, we'll get it all back together again. It still won't work. You know, but we'll cross that one when we come to it. Just fingers crossed that we've done all we can do in here. All right, I hope it does. Hope all this makes a difference. But time will tell, won't it? Right, okay. Right, that was very, very fiddly. That's the part there. I've just crimped the wires around. Now, if I was to solder this resistor to this ground point, I'm going to loosen this lead here for the transistor, which I don't want to do, as it's already in the right place for me and everything. All I've got to do is just attach these 3 wires. So I just clipped it in for now and leave it like this. I mean, I might find this capacitor underneath no good, or I want to replace it. So I'm not going to fix it in just yet. I think that's just about all the resistors done. By the way, when I tested, it was difficult because the lead was right up close. But when I tested this resistor, it wasn't that far out of tolerance actually, so it could have been left in. But I wanted to make sure that it was working okay, you know. I didn't want to go for the rigmarole of, you know, taking it all apart again and then wishing that I'd done it. It's done now, so these resistors are very, very cheap. So that's where we are at the moment. I'll leave this like this until I'm happy with the rest of it, and when I'm happy, I know I've now got 3 points that need soldering, not including the transistors. Right, let's hope this works after all this. We'll have to wait and see. Alright, I'll try anything once. You'll hear me say that a few times. I'll try anything once. If it blows up, it blows up. At least I've given it a go. Hopefully it won't.